Hello, welcome to week 8 of intermediate algebra, your first year of high school, and you're already 8 weeks in, almost a quarter done. Congratulations. Today we're going to start a new unit called ratios and proportions. So we're doing 8.2 today, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Kind of real life stuff, very different than what we were doing before. A couple things that are somewhat similar. Okay, let's do some math. All right, so like I said, this is 8.2, and the two words that make up the name of this lesson are equivalent, which is the same thing as saying equal or the same, and ratios, which is fractions. So we're going to be talking about real life scenarios that can be broken down into a mathematical language of equal fractions. So what do we mean when I say equal fractions? I mean numbers that are the same but might look different written as fractions. So for example, we have 2/4, right? Well, we all know that that is the same as 1/2, and we could say it is equivalent, right? Same as, equivalent, equal means the same thing, 6/12. And there are infinitely many different fractions that are the same. How do we know for sure that they're the same? Here's what we can do. We can check our answer using our calculator. So we could do top to bottom division, right? So 2 divided by 4 is equal to 0.5. All right, is that the same as 1 divided by 2? Yep, that's also 0.5. 6 divided by 12? That's also 0.5. And then remember, we have our handy dandy little fraction button next to the equal sign, so it can convert it into the most reduced fraction for you too, so that can be a good tool. So keep in mind throughout this whole lesson, you can check all your answers by seeing if they give you the same decimal when you divide top to bottom. All right, let's get started. Our unit is going to be about cookies. Baking is a very, very common thing, cooking too, when we're talking about proportions, because recipes must be followed, but if you want to make it for a bigger number of people, you might have to double the recipe. That's equivalent fractions. That's proportions. Proportions are just equivalent ratios, equivalent fractions. Let's get started. So this question is talking about how if you have 3 cups of flour, it's going to make you 22 cookies. There's lots of other stuff in it, right? It's chocolate chip walnut cookies, so there's a ton of other stuff you got to put in there. You got to put the butter in there, blah, blah, blah. We're not focusing on that. We're just focusing on the flour and the number of cookies. So we're going to write this as a ratio. Now, when we're talking about ratios in real life, they are fractions, but they have a different unit on the top than they do on the bottom. So what does that mean, unit? It means measurement. So in our case here, cups of flour is one measurement, but the number of cookies is the other measurement or units. All right, and then we're going to come up with 2 more equivalent. Remember, equivalent is the same as saying equal or the same. And it's kind of like, do we want to double our recipe? Do we want to triple our recipe? Do we want to cut our recipe in half? How are we going to do that? What kind of math do we need to do that? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just start with our original ratio, which you could put the 3 on the top and the bottom, or the bottom, it doesn't really matter. But since 3 comes first in the sentence, I'm going to put it on top, and then 22 on the bottom. There's our fraction. Now we need to come up with 2 equivalent fractions, 2 fractions that are the same, 2 ratios that are equivalent. So how do we do that? Well, if we wanted to double the recipe, let's say, we're going to say, okay, to double the recipe, I'm going to multiply by 2. So you're still making the same cookies, right? They're still going to turn out the same. You're just going to make more of them. So that's why we'd say the proportion of the ingredients to the cookie is still the same. What if we wanted to triple our recipe, right? We're making a huge batch of cookies. We're going to portion them out. We're going to safely, socially distant drop them off at our neighbor's house, let's say. Well, we would want to start with the same original recipe, but then we want to triple our recipe, so we multiply by 3. Remember, the word triple means multiply by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, 22 times 3 is 66. And there we go. We just came up with 2 equivalent ratios to our original ratio. All right, so this unit, or this lesson, not the whole unit, we are going to use a secret word instead of you putting your answers into Schoology, since it's a little hard to put some of these answers into Schoology. So I will let you guess, based on this sound effect that I'm going to play, what do you think the first word is? Okay, maybe you saw the little icon in the corner. You're right, it's football. Football. If you've been listening to the news or noticing Harding's been doing pretty well this year, they've get a lot of media attention. Also, football's back on TV. Everybody loves football. All right, going on to our next question. You guys are gonna try this question on your own. I'm gonna pause the video. You're gonna try it. You're gonna do great. Even if you get it wrong, that's okay. We learn from our mistakes. Give it a shot. Okay, so here is two equivalent fractions that we came up with. These are our two equivalent ratios. Remember, that means same fractions. You could use any number as long as you're multiplying by this, excuse me, the same number on the top and the bottom. How can we double check that our answer is correct? Well, I do 1 divided by 368. That's going to give me this really weird fraction. Excuse me. And then I'm going to try my other ones to make sure it gives me the same exact decimal. Excuse me. I'm okay. Just had to get that out. Must have choked. All right, we got 5 divided by 1840, for example. Oops, 40. And I get that same weird decimal. So I know I did it right. So that's how you could check your answer, because you get to be creative on this answer. All right, so I'm going to do it again, sound effect again. See if you can guess what the next word is. All right, so I know you can see the little thing going on in the corner, but if it's a Among Us vote sound, that means our secret word is vote. All right, also, it's a good reminder for you to remind your family, friends, random people walking down the street that they should be voting by November 3rd for our presidential election. Very important to vote. So remind people in your life, or just random people, that they should vote. All right, so these next examples are more questions, right? They're going to be asking you to do something specific rather than just make equivalent fractions. They want you to make a specific same fraction or equivalent ratio. So this first one says 1 cookie has 39.1 milligrams of cholesterol. Cholesterol is thought to be really not very good for you. So the cookies are not the most healthy thing. We all know that. So we have 1 cookie has 39.1 milligrams. So we're going to say 1 cookie has 39.1 milligrams. And so our 2 units are numbers of cookies on top and then milligrams of cholesterol on the bottom. And then we want to know if we wanted to change this fraction into a equivalent ratio, right? But we know that we want to have 5 cookies. We know we wanted to multiply the batch by 5, or we wanted to eat 5 cookies. We want to know how many milligrams of cholesterol that is. How could we do that? What is this number that's going to be on the bottom? Okay, so think about it. When we were looking at equivalent ratios in the previous question, we decided what we were going to multiply by. Well, in this one, they already multiplied by 5 for us, right? And so if you multiply what's on the bottom by 5 as well, then we'll get our answer. So 39.1 times 5 is equal to 195.5. So I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but seems like a lot of cholesterol if you eat 5 cookies. So our final answer is going to be 195.5 milligrams of cholesterol. Okay, so hopefully this is kind of tracking for you. Same idea, but just like a different process, right? You have to figure out what you're multiplying by rather than you getting to be a little creative and deciding. Okay, this one's kind of fun. It says if you had one cookie, it had 368 calories. Duh, we already knew that. So since we know that, we're going to say 1 over 368, just like we did before. But the beginning says, daily recommendation says you should eat approximately 2,000 calories. So how many cookies can you eat before you meet the daily recommendation for your calories? So if all you were going to eat all day was cookies, how many cookies could you eat if you wanted to stay under 2,000 calories? So in this one, we know that the denominator is 2,000, but we don't know what we need to multiply by to get to 2,000. So our question is, what is this number here? Now, we could, trial and error. So we could do 368, let's see, times 5 cookies, right? Okay, that's almost 2,000 cookies. Use my little trick of going back, delete the 5, try 6. Okay, that's over 2,000 cookies. So it must be between 5 and 6 cookies. And the question says, how many cookies can you eat before you meet the recommendation of calories? So you want to stay under 2,000 calories. So let's see, we wanted to stay with 5 cookies because that's when we're under 2,000 calories. You could say, figure it out a little bit better by saying, okay, 2,000 divided by 368. That'll give you the exact number of cookies you could eat. So you could eat just under 5.5 cookies and stay under 2,000 calories. But I think it's safe to say that you should stop at 5 cookies and that's all you can eat for the whole day. Which I think I'd be pretty disappointed if all I ate for the whole day was 5 cookies. Maybe some of you would be happy with that, but I know I like to eat more than just cookies in a day. All right, let's see if you can guess the next secret word. The next secret word is going to be... Okay. It is about Halloween. It is a spooky. So spooky is the third secret word that you need to put into your Schoology quiz to prove that you watched this. All right, these next 3 examples are ones for you to do on your own. So go ahead and pause the video, try these on your own, unpause the video, and then we'll go over the answers together. Boom! Okay, I know it didn't really scare you. Let's go over these answers real quick. I could spend a lot of time on them. But this one started with that same recipe again, but we wanted 88 cookies at the end. So I had to figure out what number do we multiply 22 by to get 88. Maybe that one's not super obvious to you. So we use the magic of division to go backwards and figure out. So if you don't know what to multiply by, you can use division. So the bigger number divided by the smaller number tells you what you want to multiply by. So 12 cups of flour for 88 cookies. This one was a little tricky, but just using that same strategy, we know we were at 8%, we want to get to 100%. I don't know what to multiply by to get 8 to 100. So I did 100 divided by 8 to find 12.5. So there we go. Use division if you're not sure what to multiply by. And then finally, the last one was a little bit tricky, but it does give you 120 minutes. So if you're ever given a problem like this where you had 15 minutes and then it said 2 hours, make sure that you need the units to be the same. So you want to go from 15 to 120, not 15 to 2. And I found that the multiplier was 8 and was able to find that a teacher could grade 48 assignments. Now, let's see real quick at the end here. Can you figure out what this final trivia or secret question is? Maybe that's all you needed. Yes, the word is Pringles. Pringles. Somebody was eating Pringles when they chose that word. All right, good job today, you guys. Proud of you for doing your work. Put this into your assignment. See you later.